Okay, so I just spent $19,208 on sneakers in one day, but it wasn't for my personal collection. I'm not that stupid. Let me explain to you why I did that and how this is going to make me over $3,000 in profit. I've sold over 24,000 pairs of sneakers over the last few years, and I started with just $150. That's something a lot of people don't know. The exact method that I'm going to show you right now is what I'm still doing to this day. So even if you don't have a ton of money, you can still do this just at a smaller scale and make thousands of dollars reselling. And I know the shelves behind me are completely empty. I kind of wanted to film this while I still had the pairs in hand, but because we sell stuff so quick, there's no shoes right now. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how I found these pairs, how I sold them, and then all the actual financial details of this entire deal without any gatekeeping to the cent. So with that being said, let's hop right into it. Okay, so let's first break down exactly what it is that I actually bought. 33 pairs of the Jordan 5 Metallic Black Reimagines that just came out. We got those at around $220 to $225 each. 44 pairs of the Jordan 3 Black Cats at $190.68 each, and 50 pairs of the Jordan 12 Barons at $195 each. So for these Jordan 5s that just came out, they were one of the most hyped releases of the entire year, and market prices were absolutely insane. Most of the pairs we actually got from sneaker bots. Now I know what you're probably thinking. I'm actually not a genius when it comes to sneaker bots. I really don't know what I'm doing, and I was never super good at it. So I use something called ACO, which is called automatic checkout, and this allows me to give other people my information and check out on my behalf, and then I just pay them a fee for every shoe that they hit. I have a full-time professional team that I actually give people inside my free community access to as well. All you have to do to get access to them is go down the first link in the description and join that, and I can connect you with all of those sneaker botters or other people that might be able to help you check out pairs for retail. Now the craziest thing is I actually did zero work. All I did was give them the information prior to the release. I was actually asleep during the actual drop, so I didn't even go on any websites, confirm any orders. All I did was look at my phone at around 10 o'clock, and I mean, I'll just put it up on the screen. There was a ton of orders. Now the Jordan 12s and the Jordan 3s took a little bit of work. I started out by making this post in a Facebook group that I'm in, and you can join hundreds of these groups for free all over Facebook for both locals and international people. Now the seller actually hit me up, and after discussing some details and terms, we agreed on $200 a pair for 50 pairs of the Jordan 12 Baron. Because of a shipment delay, he actually took an additional $10 off the entire order, so I ended up getting these for $190 per pair. And the Jordan 3s I got from an overseas seller. Now I know what some of you are about to think. Once again, I'm gonna stop you before you even have the ability to think it. These are not fake pairs. A lot of people think that when I say overseas seller, I'm getting them from like some dungeon or like, I don't know. Now China, Europe, and every country basically has their own allocation for Nike products that's separate from the US. So all we're doing is finding arbitrage opportunities where a pair might be 20, 30, maybe even 10, just $10 cheaper in a different market. We're importing it to the US, and then that's kind of where we're making our margin. So it's not always the craziest margin in the world, but there's always these little arbitrage opportunities. That's exactly what we did right here. Before I did any wire transfers or paying any of these guys, this is my exact checklist for making sure I'm not about to get scammed. So first is reference post verification. You can see a reference post right here, and basically what I'm looking for is any other related buyers or sellers that I might look familiar to, or I might have seen at a sneaker event that might have done business with this person before. This is an easy way for me to know if this person is actually involved in the same spaces and community that I'm in, and I can simply just reach out if I see one of my friends and verify that I'm not about to get cooked. Secondly, I want to analyze the market to make sure I'm not about to buy for a price that I'm going to lose money on. So with those Jordan 12 Barons, if I had paid $200, I wouldn't have made nearly as much money. Because of the delay, I was able to get that price reduced, and if I had gotten those pairs during the promised delivery time, I would have been completely fine and been able to sell them anywhere from $220 to $230. The market dropped a little bit, and I ended up selling them for around $207 to $215 a pair. So make sure you discuss the delivery terms with your sellers prior, because if they don't meet that delivery promise, you can get money off and prevent yourself from taking a loss. And when it comes to authentication, all of this is done once the pairs actually get in hand. Usually I'm scoping out the seller enough that I'll know whether or not they're selling fakes by talking to other people in the space, and I have at least some of an idea of how to chase back the supply chain, but that's just because I've been in the game for so long. What you can do is just use an app like a legit app, and you can just pay a couple dollars, have them verify, have experts look at the pairs. You can also get a black light and learn how to do this yourself. I'm not an expert with this in terms of actual authentication, but I do use the legit app pretty often whenever I have doubts. And then lastly, when it comes to logistics, I either decide to send it here or to send it to my 3PL in Delaware. I'm in Tennessee, so us being kind of like, you know, on different sides of the globe, sometimes it's much more cheap to just send it to Delaware and have them fulfill, and sometimes it makes more sense to send it here because I might be selling to a store locally that would avoid me having having to pay any shipping costs 2 times over. Now the key in the sneaker market and in the sneaker game to making quick profits isn't actually buying, it's selling. And more specifically, it's selling before you buy. Here's exactly what I did before buying these pairs and before sending any money out to anybody. First, I reached out to all my local bulk buyers and store buyers in my area to avoid having to pay shipping costs because I knew these were coming to Tennessee. After that, I started to reach out to people in other areas. I got interest from a couple of stores here, but they wanted the pairs in hand and they were willing to take at least 1 to 2 size runs each. Once I had shipping confirmation, I posted specific size runs on my Instagram and Discord, and I was able to once again get some interest from bulk buyers that wanted the pairs in hand, but were definitely willing to buy. I also leveraged my Discord community, and once again, that free Discord that I mentioned to you before, which you can join for free in the link in the description. Sorry, I'm plugging it super hard. And I'll just pop up a DM conversation from one of the stores that I actually ended up selling to. I was able to get these off for $215 a pair, and paying $190, I'm easily making $25 in profit per pair. Also, be sure to follow me on Instagram because whenever I do a live phone call, calling a sneaker store, or calling someone else to actually sell these pairs, I put that on my Instagram for you guys to see. So make sure you're following me there if you're not already. Once I actually got the pairs in hand, it was super easy to sell because I already had a good idea of who was interested, and I knew prior to even buying these that the market wanted this shoe. I knew I was paying a good price, and everything else in between was as simply as just discussing terms and getting stuff shipped out. I sold most of the Jordan 12s to a bulk buyer and the rest to a store, and I was able to make over $700 in profit from just this one deal. It was a pretty similar process for the Jordan 3s as well, but the Jordan 5s were super easy to sell because everyone wanted them. I sold all of these to a bulk buyer that I work with a lot, and that actual phone conversation is on my Instagram as well. So if you want to go watch that, you can see exactly what I said to break that deal down and actually make the money happen. So now let's look at the actual math for all of these deals. Now for the Jordan 5s, I spent a total of $7,361. Shipping fees were $132, and total sales was around $9,570, which puts our profit right around $2,077. Now I will mention a couple of pairs after I made this list landed and we ended up selling them. So my actual profit here is somewhere around $2,300 to $2,400. For the Jordan 12s, the total investment was around $9,750. Shipping fees were $132, and total sales was around $10,750. So that gives us a profit of around $868, and I just bought 100 more of these literally last night. Now the Jordan 3s were not as great of a return on the first batch because the market tanked super hard and we low-key panic sold, but then after we sold, the market went up again. But on the first 11 pairs that I sold, I basically made chump change. I invested a total of $2,097.48. Shipping was $25.19. And total sales was $2,200, which is $77.48 in profit. But I still have 33 pairs left at the time of recording this video. I'm actually working on a deal right as we speak, so I think these will be gone, and I will realistically be able to sell the rest of these for $205 to $210. This would be another $6,200 in sales and $500 additionally in profit. So that would bring our total to $19,208.48 spent to profit $3,522, not accounting for a couple of those little tweaks that I made as we were going through that. The biggest beauty of sneaker wholesale is it's such a quick turnaround game. If you look at other business models like Amazon or drop shipping, between actually launching ads, seeing the ads work, selling the product, shipping it out, getting paid from payment processors like Shopify or Stripe or whatever, it's a longer process than 7 days. On the flip side with Amazon, you're buying inventory, sending it out, then it sells, then it gets to the customer, then you actually get paid. So it's like you're able to literally cut down on this time frame, and even though the margin might be a little bit smaller, you can just do this process 5 times before someone on any of these other platforms or business model even gets paid once. Now that I broke this down for you, let's talk about a couple of common mistakes that I see people make when they're trying to do bulk deals just like this. The first major mistake is buying without at least some plan of how you're going to sell in mind. You don't have to have buyers 100% lined up and have cash already in your account, but at least having a good idea of where you're going to look to sell and who's somewhat interested is super important. Second is not accounting for all the fees that are actually involved in this, like shipping, botting, tape, boxes. A lot of resellers don't actually track a lot of this stuff, and their profit numbers aren't actually real. Third is being greedy with wholesale. You guys saw on those Jordan 3 Black Cats, I made like a 3 to 5% margin on some of those initial pairs. Now, obviously, the rest of the pairs I'm going to sell for 10 to 20, even 30% margins potentially. But because I want to quickly move my cash flow, I'm willing to take those smaller margins sometimes if it means I can get cash back and make better buying decisions. So don't be greedy. And if you have a buyer lined up and the numbers make somewhat of a good profit, just take the profit. The entire structure of how the wholesale business model works is all about moving inventory quick, pushing volume, focusing less on margin. I'm not saying you can't have great margins, but the margin is not the #1 priority. Profitability and how quickly you're moving stuff is the priority. Now, a couple of last thoughts and steps if you want to be able to implement a similar strategy to what I just did and what I'm doing every single week into your own life and your own business. Firstly, you need to build some really solid relationships with 3 to 5 stores and a couple of really good suppliers. Focus on building relationships with your buyers first, but it's also important to have good sellers. Now, how do you actually go about doing this? I have tons of videos here on my YouTube channel that break all of these topics down in more specifics, and I will be bringing out a lot more content to explain specifically how I find my sellers and sell stuff fast, how I find my buyers and buy stuff fast with minimal amounts of time spent. But for now, skim through my old content and focus on the reference post hacking method that I talk about in almost all my videos. Just a quick brief overview of what that is. Essentially, you're going to look at the reference post that we talked about before when we're verifying if someone's legit, and you can just look through all these resellers on Instagram and see who else might be buying and selling to this person. So let's say you find a really good buyer, you can look at all the other people that have commented on his reference post, see who else is buying from him and who else is selling to him, right? It's all like gonna be right there for you to see. Once again, don't focus on high margins as much as quick turnaround. That's your number one priority, especially as a beginner, because the more reps that you can get in, the more money you actually are gonna make in the long run and the better connections you're gonna build. Another really important thing I want to mention is it's totally okay to do smaller bulk deals in the beginning. You don't have to go out and buy 1,000 pairs, buy 3 pairs, buy 5 pairs, buy 2 pairs, and just get your feet wet and understand how this industry actually works. Hopefully you found this video helpful. I'm documenting a lot of my own business and a lot of my own life on my Instagram, so make sure to follow me there because I'll be showing you a lot of behind the scenes as I continue to scale my own sneaker wholesale business, and you can pick up a lot of tips along the way so that you can scale your own or even start your own business. If you want to learn my complete full reselling system that's allowed me to sell millions of dollars worth of product as a 21-year-old, go to the first link in the description. You'll see a link to join my free 7-figure community. Just ask me questions in there. I'm super active every day. I'm sending voice notes every day, and I'm trying to connect with you guys as much as possible. That's the best way that you can contact me. Go to the link in the description. And with that being said, subscribe if you enjoyed this. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.